I was thinking about the song, None of Self and All of Thee, and the whole idea we've had for the last couple of years. And that's such a theme song, such a progression. As Braden leaned over when Austin started it, it's one of those songs that you cannot sing first and last. You have to sing all four, and you hope, and Tony often prays it, you hope that as the process goes through, it's more about Him and less about us on a daily basis. And the songs all day long have fit so well with the idea that I've had, especially for our young people today. And I'm talking, if you're sixth grade and up, if you're old enough that you have obeyed the gospel or begun thinking about it, certainly you're included in that group. It's for all of us, but the scariness of the world that our young people grow up in, and then as our seniors are transitioning into as adults, and our college kids are dealing with on college campuses. I want you to see tonight that there is this progression as we work through the text that, and I normally don't do this, I normally don't give you the end result before we get started, but I am today because I want you to watch how it works. The end result is verse 27, very specifically that final phrase that relates to pure and undefiled religion is to keep oneself unspotted or unstained by the world. And young people, I want you to see, all of us, I want us to see that James, being a very practical book, is providing us a process that if we work through chapter 1, when we get to verse 27, we will have an idea how to stay unspotted from the world. And I was actually running a search for a background unspotted from the world, and that's where I came up with the unspotted owl. And so I thought he made a good introduction to it. So watch as the layers build. Watch as James progresses from one thing to the next. And I actually started a little bit earlier than the scripture reading. And we're going to go back to verse 12. Blessed is a man who perseveres under trial. Once he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love Him. Now then, watch, listen very carefully. Let no one say when he is tempted, I am being tempted by God. God cannot be tempted by evil, and He Himself does not tempt anyone. Each one who is tempted, when he is carried away and enticed by his own lust, his own desires, his own feelings for what he wants. Then when lust has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and when sin is accomplished, it brings forth death. Do not be deceived, my beloved brethren. Every good thing bestowed, every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shifting shadow. In the exercise of His will, He brought us forth by the word of truth, so that we might be, as it were, the first fruits among His creatures. Step number 1, listen to me, all of you, especially our young people, control your surroundings. God does never at any point in your existence put you in a situation where you are tempted. God does not intentionally allow us to come in contact with Satan in that way. He does not tempt us. It is our fault when we end up in those situations. Sometimes now it may be our fault accidentally in a sense. We're in the wrong place at the wrong time, but still I am in control of my surroundings. I choose whether to stay in that situation or not. And I chose in some way whether or not to put myself in that situation. So don't blame it on God. You get the invite to somewhere you know the wrong people are going to be. Control your surroundings. Do not accept the invitation. Do not be where you should not be. Do not be with the people that you should not be with. Do not allow yourself to be tempted, because go all the way back to the garden. Those desires are there. John says that everything boils down to the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the boastful pride of life. You could even really insert the word lust for the pride of life. It all comes down to what we desire that leads us away. Do not put yourself, if you're dating age, in a situation where you are sexually tempted. Just avoid it. Don't be in the dark. Don't be alone. Don't be where Satan can prey on the desires that are built into you that are good for you in the right situation, under God's law, but are not good for you in the wrong situation. So manage your surroundings. Make up your mind in advance that you're not going to put yourself in certain situations. Because notice the progression of the text. When I put myself in those situations, I'm tempted by my desires, and when I give in to those desires, they lead me towards sin, and ultimately when I sin, it destroys a part of my soul, begins to chip away at my God image. So the beginning of remaining, keeping ourselves, working at being unspotted from the world is controlling where we go and what we do. It's up to you. It's up to all of us. Verses 19 and 20. After reminding us that we put ourselves in that situation, God's the giver of good things. It was God's desire to bring us to Him through the Word. He goes on, "This you know, my beloved brethren." But I'm going to tell you anyway. "Let everyone be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. The anger of man does not achieve the righteousness of God." Number one, control your surroundings. Number two, control your preparation. Be slow to act. Control the preparation for the moment so that when you do act, it is not rash. In fact, I'm going to use the phrase in a few minutes, act, don't react. Make up your mind in advance the plan of action that you're going to take. But prepare ahead of time so that when the situation arises, you know what you're going to do. I was reading an article recently by a lady in the Courier Journal, and she's in the process of retiring, so she was rerunning an older article, and she was making the point, and she was talking about teenagers and how we need to teach them God's place in their sexual lives. And she was making the point that we have to know in advance, if I end up in a situation where I am tempted sexually, this is how I am reacting. This is the no, and the phrase, what's the phrase? It's a hard no. All right, I know how to react if he touches something he should not touch. Or in our world, years ago you had to word it that way. Nowadays you have to say it the other way as well. If she touches something she's not supposed to touch, that I have control of the preparation that allows me to handle it, and handle it the right way, and handle it in a solid way so that there's never any question about the moral stance that I am taking. Young people, prepare yourselves before you get into the situation. Regardless what it is, whether it's your language, which is what James is talking about, and your anger and your tongue, or it's your actions, your thoughts. Control the preparation. Control the surroundings, control the preparation. Verse 21, as he continues, "Therefore, putting aside all filthiness, all that remains of wickedness, in humility receive the word implanted, which is able to save your soul." Control your thoughts. Control what is feeding your thought processes. He said, put aside every bit of that filthiness, every bit of that wickedness, anything that can begin to soil the thought process begins to soil the action process. And so you control the thoughts. You control it with the Word. You receive the Word in the right way, humbly accepting that God knows the right choice to make. And He has the right actions for me. And if I follow them, then I'll stay where He wants me to stay. And so I receive that Word implanted in my heart, implanted in my mind, so that it becomes a case where I have no choice, in a sense, but to do the right thing. Because I have prepared myself to do the right thing. I have been through it over and over and over, so that it becomes so ingrained in me that that is always my reaction to that temptation. That is always my reaction to that possibility of sin. Because I have already reined in the thought process. Paul says what in Philippians? Think on these things, good things, holy things, things that direct our steps in the right direction. 22 through 26. Prove yourselves doers of the word, not merely hearers who delude themselves. Anyone is a hearer of word and not a doer. He's like a man who looks in his natural face in a mirror. Once he's looked at himself and gone away, he has immediately forgotten what kind of person he was. Notice the image. I don't know if I can even say it kindly. I'm trying. It takes an idiot to look in the mirror and not recognize himself, and to walk away and forget what he looks like. All right? So James just paralleled that with the Word. He said to hear it and not act on it. He said it really takes an idiot. It takes someone who doesn't have enough sense to come in out of the rain to not act on what is life-saving. One who looks intently at the perfect law, the law of liberty, and abides by it, not having become a forgetful hearer, but an effectual doer, this man shall be blessed in what he does. Regardless, if anyone thinks he's righteous, does not bridle his tongue, sees his own heart, this man's religion is worthless. We'll get to that one in a minute. I want to key on 25 for just a minute. Regardless the profession you're going to choose, regardless the education level you are going to attempt to attain, if you want to be blessed in life, it comes through obedience to the will of God. It does not come through accolades. It does not come through a paycheck. It does not come from a series of letters after your name or the title on the door. It comes from obedience to the will of God. Solomon had everything in this world and more. And when he boiled it all down, and he got through boiling the cabbage down, what he found was, fear God and keep His commandments. This is the whole of man. It is the entirety. It makes up everything that I am. He had the wisdom. He had the PhD. He had the money. He had the title. He's the king of Israel. He had it all. And he said, absolutely none of it compares to obedience. And so the next one, control your actions. Act. Don't react. If you have already honed your skills spiritually, you're not reacting to the situation around you, because you've already got it planned out. You are simply acting as you have trained yourself through the Word of God to act. And then notice, he goes back to that tongue. Back to, don't claim that you're a righteous, godly individual if you can't keep your tongue under control. Control what you say. And so often we think of that as cursing. That's not it. It is language in general. It is what I am putting out there and portraying about what's on inside of me by the way I present myself verbally. And I'm going to skip that. Her story's a little bit crass, and so I'm just going to leave it out. But the act, don't react. Don't be in a situation where you do not have a plan already. And then James closes the chapter out. This is pure and undefiled religion. Visit the widows in their distress. And then here's our phrase, keep oneself unspotted by the world. That's the result. When I control my surroundings, when I control my preparation, when I control my thought processes, when I control my actions, I can keep myself from staining my soul, from spotting my soul. This is the thing I want to drive home. Young people, hear me. Older people, hear me. Unspotted by the world is not an accident. It is a choice. It is a lifestyle. It is a plan that is put in place in advance. And it is a plan that, I don't even know if they do it anymore. We had to do it as kids. Remember, you had to sit down and you had to plan if there was a fire in your house, how you're going to get out of the house. All right, and you had to practice it. You were supposed to go home and practice it, and you had to do it over and over and over. So if the fire alarm went off in the middle of the night, you didn't have to stop and ask for directions. Unspotted from the world is that. It is something that I have practiced and practiced and practiced to the point when I'm in the wrong situation, I'm Joseph. I'm bailing from it. Paul writes to Timothy, flee unrighteousness. And it is that same word of idea of physically moving away from it. Notice the wording. Don't stay. Keep yourself. Keep oneself unspotted from the world. Keep it clean. Don't put it in a place where it can get dirty. When we were kids, you got up on Sunday morning and you ate breakfast and Mama had your clothes laid out and you got dressed. And one of the things you were told was, don't get dirty. Don't wrinkle your shirt. Don't mess up your hair. Don't scuff your shoes. You are dressed for... One day, for whatever reason, I decided it was a good idea to go outside and pick off the big gray dog ticks off my dog and hit them with a hammer in my white dress shirt. Keep yourself unspotted from the world means you don't go squash the ticks. You don't go roll in the mud. You don't dress your kids for children and say, hey, there's a huge mud pile outside, go roll in it. But that's what we do spiritually. I'm going to keep myself unspotted for the world, but I'm fixing to go hang out with these people. And I'm fixing to go watch this, and I'm fixing to go there. And then we wonder why when we come home, we're funky, nasty, dirty spiritually. Keep oneself unspotted for the world is an active process in our lives, and it requires the layers of work we've just talked about. And it requires layers of discipline. Discipline like we put into learning a trade. Discipline like we learn in learning a sport or whatever. Where I have to do the work and the preparation ahead of time. Pure and undefiled religion is A, service-oriented. Visit the widows in their distress. And by the way, this is just a total side note because I'm focused on that last one. But that word visit does not mean check in every 6 months, say, hey, how you doing? Nice to hear from you, goodbye. It literally means to tend to the needs of. And sometimes we struggle with that. Sometimes I struggle with that. But pure and undefiled religion, if I'm going to present to God a living sacrifice from Romans chapter 12, it has to be unspotted. Is your spiritual life unspotted today? And as you go into the world, you go into the next phase of your life, whatever it may be, are you putting in the preparation to keep it that way? As we stand and sing.